Hey, everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Well, this is, you know, uh, Joey Merlino, a guy that really got under my skin. When I first saw him getting on YouTube and he came off like, he just triggered me. He had the face you just want to punch out, yeah, that tough guy bullshit, all 122 pounds of him. And then, of course, what he did was he called Sonny Franzese a rat. And that really set me off. I've been to 4 state prisons in New York, some of the toughest. I've been to Elmira, Greenhaven, Sing Sing, and West Coxsackie, which was really just a kid's jail. But you called somebody a rat that wasn't in prison, you'd get them fucking killed. You would just get them killed. So he's wrong. He's wrong. But now I'm not a doctor, not a psychiatrist, but you don't have to be one to realize that Joey Merlino suffers from RDS. Yep. And there's no cure for it. It's called rat derangement syndrome. If you're not laughing, you ain't got no sense of humor. I just made that shit up. Rat derangement syndrome. That's what he has. And boy, if I was him, I'd probably have the same affliction. Disease, mental, what the fuck? I don't know. But so when he first came out, I blasted him just like I didn't blast Michael Franzese as much as I did him because he just had the personality and calling people rats that wasn't, especially Sonny Franzese. That guy was stand up all the way. So it's not easy for me to say this, but I have to say it. I was 100% wrong about Joey Merlino. He is a stand-up guy. He is, the more I learned about him, and then let me stop there. Then I was getting all these hate comments from people from Philadelphia. They were all defending him, this, that, and the other thing, and I just didn't give a shit about it. Who gives a shit? I'm from New York City. Who gives a shit about Philadelphia? Nobody. Who gives a shit about that place? I don't know. All the bad guys that I fucking hung out with, did business, did crimes, all my crime. Nobody ever talked about what went on in that little shithole fucking Philadelphia. I think of Philadelphia, I think of Kensington, I think of people who's standing up, sleeping all up from that meth, whatever the fuck drug that is. I think that people are taking. So anyway, I was wrong about the guy. The guy's a stand-up guy. The guy's a good guy. I always knew he was stand-up. But now, let me tell you why I'm doing a complete 180 with this guy. And no, nobody threatened me. I'm not scared of Mr. Skinny. I could give a shit. So they're probably going to be a lot of users that go, oh, he's probably, no one gave me any death threats. This is just the right thing to do. Even though I have a little channel, this is the right thing to do. So why did I think that he was full of crap and everything about him? I just thought it was full of shit. Because you know why? Because you only get one chance to make a first impression with someone. Okay? So now he kept talking about lying rats. Lying rats. That was the first red flag that went up to say there's something wrong with this guy. So now, lying rats, remember that. So he kept saying lying rats. Well, I've been into 4 penitentiaries. I've been to Rikers Island. I've been to Queens House Detention. I've been to Bronx House Detention. I was even in the Tombs just before they closed it. So I was in all these jails. And the thing that most inmates in jail or prison want to talk about is their rats, because they're so pissed off they're locked up because someone they trusted, someone they had confidence in, somebody ratted them out. But I never, ever, ever heard when describing a rat, stool pigeon, whatever they want to call them. I never heard anyone refer to a rat as a lying rat, lying rat, lying rat. So if you look at his videos in the beginning, you're going to hear him use those two words to describe informants. You're going to hear him. You're going to hear him. And I never heard of anyone in prison say those lying rats. Now, I was a confidential informant. I wasn't a rat. I don't consider my rat. You might consider me a rat, but that's okay. That's your prerogative. I was a paid confidential informant. I was a cop without a badge. That's what they titled me. Because, I did it for money. I did it the fucking job, just like a cop. Except I didn't have a badge. So, as he's talking about all of these lying rats and how they did this to me, I just thought he was full of shit. I thought the guy was full of shit. And why did I think he's full of shit? Because I was a fucking confidential informant for 30 years, so I know all about it. I know how people flip. I've seen them flip through two-way glass in offices in the DEA, the FBI. I watched them flip. I've even watched them rat me out. They were giving me up, not knowing that I'm on the other side of the window, looking in. The fucking guys were ratting me out. Oh, they're coming more. It was all him. Anyway, so I have a great deal of experience working as an informant with law enforcement, and then on occasion, even worked with a USA in the Eastern District. USA means United States Attorney, Assistant United States Attorney. When they paid me big money, they had to have two DEA agents, and the DA, the USA that handled that case that I was getting paid for, sign off on it and give me the money right in that office. That's how I got paid. So everyone, I worked out of the FBI office on 69th Street and 3rd Avenue, the New York Joint Bank Robbery Task Force with Special Agent Al Garber. I worked with the Auto Squad, FBI out of Newark, New Jersey on Raymond Boulevard. So I worked with a bunch of agents, and every single one of them were legit. They always had it. They trained me. They literally trained me on entrapment, what to do, what not to do, the law. And then they trained me on FBI policy, DEA policy. They trained me on how I work the case and what I've done, because they do 302s and they everything that I do, they write down, but not all the time, because I was a paid informant. I was not an informant that was working off a case where they can order you around and you got to do whatever they say. No, it was the other way around. I looked at it like they're working for me. They couldn't tell me what to do. They couldn't tell, but they did. They could tell me what to do as far as the law and what their policy is, and so on. So I know, and like I said before, I worked with the Southern District of New York, USAs, and the USAs out of the Eastern District in Brooklyn. So I worked with all of these people, and they had integrity as high as the Empire State Building. Where I came up with that, they were untouchable. They were all legit. And when I first started working for them as an informant, I had to prove that what I was saying was true when it could not be corroborated. A lot of times I did not wear wires. I just didn't. It was too risky. I didn't wear wires. So, but after a while, when I was working with them and they were working with me, we developed a relationship. And it was always like 100% legitimate. It was. So when this guy, now don't forget, he kept saying lying rats. And then what's up with this, Joey? He blinks like that's a symptom of RDS, rat derangement syndrome. This poor guy is all fucking, and I'm not laughing at him, but I am laughing. He was okay. So let me tell you what I found out really happened after talking to somebody that was in law enforcement that knew his case. So I found out all this shit after I called him an idiot, liar, whatever the fuck I called him. I don't know. I don't know what I called him, but I take it back. I take it back. I'm backpedaling right now, but everything he said went against everything I knew firsthand, not hearsay, not like somebody said how informants work. So he kept saying lying rats, and there was a United States attorney. And I think this guy was like you got Giuliani was the Southern District's top dog, USA. And then you had, I think his name was Ed Mahoney in Brooklyn. That guy, they were the top. They were, Rudy Giuliani was appointed United States attorney of the Southern District by President Reagan. So, I mean, these are appointments that it comes from that, I think, the president. So that's pretty high, And so my experience working with the guys that I worked, well, they were all legit. Everything had to be, you couldn't lie, they tested me. You just can't purge yourself. And why would I? I'm getting paid, So anyway, he starts saying that he starts talking about this USA, whose name escapes me, that he was a crook and he was out to get him and he lied and got all these lying rats to inform on him. And that's where he got RDS. He got RDS. And why wouldn't the fucking poor bastard get RDS? Everyone that got locked up in Philadelphia, even if they didn't know him, snitched and just made up fucking lies. And they really did. And before I go any further about this U.S. attorney in Philadelphia, he later wound up committing suicide. This guy. Was it because he couldn't get Joey the way he wanted to? I don't know. There was just so many things that they did that were illegal. Let me just stop right there. The big talk when I was an informant back in the late 80s, 90s, early 90s, was how the government, I don't know if the Eastern District, United States Attorney in the Eastern District, pulled John Gotti's attorney, this guy Cutler. They said he can't defend him because he kept beating him. He kept beating him. And they just they didn't disbar him. They just said, you can't do it. Go F yourself. We don't care. We're going to get him. We're going to get him. He really pissed off the government. So that was the big thing. And then, of course, Sammy the Bull Gravano comes along and he makes a deal for 19 murders and he does 90 days for each one of them. That was a fucking unbelievable. That's what collapsed him up. But I digress. Getting back to this guy, Joey. So as he's going on all these podcasts, Joey Merlino was saying about all these lying rats, and everywhere he went, people were informing on him and getting him indicted. He had to spend millions of dollars to fight the cases, and he was beating them because they really were. These informants were lying rats. They lied on the guy. Everybody, he didn't know where the fuck, he couldn't go anywhere without somebody saying, hey, how you doing? Is that a rat? That's where he got RDS. Fucking RDS. So what he's saying was really true. And it really did happen that this U.S. attorney had a hard-on for this guy and he wasn't letting him go. And he was making anybody that got arrested in Philadelphia was snitching on this guy, Molino. And let's talk about what the crimes that he did, that he was doing back then. It was sports betting. He was like the off-track fucking, that's what he did, Shylock, and he did misdemeanor kind of bullshit. The kind of bullshit that you get 6 months in jail for. No, but they didn't like him because, like John Gotti, he would drive around his Rolls Royce, Land Rovers. He like one of the boys from Philadelphia. He's a defender. They said that one of Joey Merlino's shirts cost more than my $170,000 Mercedes. I don't know how that could be true, but that guy dresses to the T. So so that's what I learned about the guy. And so all my experience working with law enforcement was to the contrary, what this guy Molino was saying. But then when I found out that it was true, I want to be true to my channel. Um, I I don't want to say I'm sorry to the guy, you know. Yeah, maybe I do. What I said was wrong. I was wrong, and a lot of my viewers like believed me over him because what I'm saying made a lot more sense than what he was saying. On one of his podcasts, he describes, and I'm watching this guy. I'm watching his eye, just the way he talks and the way he says things. Like he's the kind of guy that don't give a f. He just gonna do whatever. He doesn't have to lie. He doesn't have to lie. So once I verified that everything that he was saying was true, I mean everything that this guy was saying was true about these informants. So let me get back to my story again. I digress. So he's in a 2-cell jail. I don't know if it was um, county jail, federal. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but he's in there, and here comes this guy. They crack the cell, like usually like when somebody just gets arrested, they really don't get to their assigned cell until like in the middle of the night. So in the middle of the night, you could hear yourself. If you were in a 2-man cell and the other bed was empty, you would hear click, and they'd open up the gate, and then in comes this guy that Joey knows is a snitch. And the guy obviously knew him, but this guy, Joey Merlino, was so popular. I mean, what he did was Christmas time, he would spend a bunch of money on toys to the poor kids. And Christmas and Thanksgiving, he would give turkeys out. That's what he was doing, you know. That's what this guy. So anyway, the cell door cracks, opens up, and he sees this guy and he jumps out of his bunk. And the guy goes, "Hey, Joey, what's going on?" A real stupid, one of these stupid snitches. So Joey pushed him out. Hey, Cito, get this fucking rat out of my cell. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna fight him. I don't give a fuck if you put me in the hole. I'm fucking get him out. Get him out. And they did. They did get him out. So this poor guy, I can't imagine having RDS because that's another freaking diagnosis, like the Trump derangement syndrome. That's what this guy had, except everybody he did. I mean, can you imagine? Well, and from what I understand, there was like 100 of them. Like every time someone would get popped, they'd make a deal. So every time someone got popped that knew him, the fucking cops and the U.S. attorney would show up and say, "Listen, motherfucker, if you don't flip on him, I'm gonna and threaten him like, fuck, man." And I felt sorry for the poor rats because they didn't want to do it. They were forced. That's corruption like I couldn't believe. And then there was another story that he told about a homicide that they put on him federally. And he took it to trial and won because it was a bunch of lying rats going to the grand jury testifying before a jury. And he beat it. And that guy was so crazy. I don't know what I could call him. Skinny derangement syndrome that USA had SDS, skinny derangement syndrome, because he wanted this guy Molino so bad that he actually talked the New Jersey, the District of New Jersey, to indict him on the same murder he just got acquitted from. So he was extradited to Newark and put on trial there. And of course, he beat that one too, because it's not even double jeopardy. I don't know. Anyway, this crazy. I guess that when you're the United States attorney of any district in America, you got a whole bunch of power. Whatever you want to do, you can do. Apparently, this crazy nut, and you guys can look him up, committed suicide because he couldn't get him. And so anyway, you gotta take your hat off to this guy. Joey Merlino got 15 years for what? Taking book, Shylocking. Everything that I now know about him, I go, holy shit, this poor bastard. You can see. I don't know if you watch some of his videos. He's blinking because he's fucked up. They fucked him up. RDS, no cure. There's no cure, Joey. I feel sorry. I'm sorry I said things that turned out not being true. But in my defense, everything that he said was contrary to what I knew by my experience as being one of the government's top CIs, if you want to call it that. But yeah, so Joey Molino, you're a stand-up dude, and I know you hate me because, of course, you got RDS. I wrote 2 books and movie deals I got pending. And I actually got a movie deal pending right now. I'm not sure that I'm going to take it because it's not enough money for this. I mean, that was the big red flag. In the yard, every time someone would talk about rat, that stoolie bastard, I never heard of anyone describing an informant or a rat or whatever as a lying rat. Those lying rat. I'm saying, how the fuck? They can't lie. They can't. But with that USA in Philadelphia, he was corrupt. That guy should have been put in prison. Maybe they were going to put him in prison. And that's why he popped himself. I don't know. You guys can Google that. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that I was wrong about this guy, Joey Merlino. I think he's a cool guy. I think he's a stand-up guy. He don't give a fuck. And I salute you, bro. And I'll see you guys on the next one.